Welcome back to your industry recap, and it's a bit of a mixed bag. We have some fantastic news for Emirates, who are looking into the future, and equally some frustrating developments. Lastly, there's going to be focus on Finnair, who are expanding their route network. Why not begin with the exciting news? And after confirming a purchase of 5 777 freighters for its Sky Cargo division, Emirates is reportedly set to decide on the future of its business. The primary decision involves the subsequent purchase of a next-gen freighter aircraft. Rather than continuing to, say, top up on the readily available and proven 777F, this order will be for the next gen. Considered a new era for freight flying, Airbus and Boeing have released their new large freighters to compete against each other in future flying missions. While these planes are expected to slash operating costs, they are not ready for operation as of yet, and with ongoing supply chain issues, many internal difficulties, they will likely encounter delays in their overall certification process, production, and delivery schedule. The two options available are Airbus's A350F and Boeing's 777-8F. Both units are expected to enter service in the second half of 2020, assuming no further delays, as I touched on. As a result, while operators such as Emirates will need to commit to aircraft such as the 777F, which has proven to be a safer option with the knowledge it can be delivered sooner rather than later, that does not remove the need to study the options for the future, given these next-gen freighters will be flying for at least the next 3 decades. Emirates is expected to decide which direction to take its future flying for Sky Cargo by the end of the 2024 calendar year. Emirates is already familiar with the 777 series through passenger and freight flights. Meanwhile, it is also about to take delivery of the A350-900. Therefore, the company's overall direction is something up for grabs, with deals, availability, and performance all set to play a role. While Emirates knows that it must decide on the direction of its next-gen freighter purchase, further confirmation was also given that plans were well underway to convert existing passenger aircraft, albeit they've been delayed. This is because as Boeing 777s enter the final stages of their passenger operation life at some airlines, you actually start seeing third-party companies come into the picture and start the early stages of a process to basically offer conversions, which will extend the operational life of passenger 777s and give them an alternative use. In Emirates' case, this presents an opportunity, given they're big fans of the 777, to retain the planes longer, but in a different way instead of sending them to the scrapyard. Instead of dropping right into some of the more unfortunate news, I'll take a pause on coverage for Emirates and examine Finnair, who are gearing up for a mammoth 2025 by announcing several changes to their route network for the northern summer schedule. As part of this focus, Finnair does say it'll look at focusing on the United States and Asia, but firstly, the US. Some of the first changes towards the United States included flying to 4 key cities nationwide to meet the demand they're witnessing. The carrier says increasing capacity will benefit customers based in the US and improve connectivity right around the world. Next summer, Finnair will fly daily to Chicago, and Dallas's weekly flights will increase to 11, a staggering 5 more than what was offered for the 2024 summer. Furthermore, Finnair will also increase its flights to Seattle and Los Angeles with 2 additional frequencies each week there. While the focus rests on Finnair expansion, flying into markets strictly such as Chicago and Dallas will actually foster greater onward connectivity options, this thanks to its key partner and One World Alliance member, American Airlines, who utilizes these locations as hubs. Increased flying towards Seattle and Los Angeles on the country's west coast will enable better connectivity to markets such as Hawaii and also just smaller cities on the west coast, this through American Airlines but also Alaska Airlines into the future. Yes, we will see increased flying present east towards the United States, but also west, with Asia of focus for the northern summer. Daily flights will be offered to Osaka, which is essential as the location will be hosting the World Expo for 2025. Meanwhile, 1 additional flight will be offered to Nagoya next year, which actually only resumed in the most recent summer. 4 weekly flights will be offered. It does show that Finnair sees this market as a positive grower and the right decision to return to. Finnair Finnair does make mention that these two locations do act as fantastic gateways for onward connectivity across Japan. Now, this is whether you're doing it by rail or other means of transport. The airline's focus doesn't also just rest on Japan. There'll be one additional weekly flight sent to Shanghai in China, which will make up 4 flights across the 2025 summer schedule. Now, onto some of the more, I guess you could say unfortunate, but no doubt some would say frustrating news. Emirates will see its first A350 delayed further, impacting the remainder of its plans for 2024. Aeroroutes reports that Emirates has revised its entry into service for the A350. This came following a schedule issuing update on the 23rd of October. And as part of the latest revision, well, the debut will be between Dubai and Edinburgh, but it's been delayed until the 15th of January 2024 at the earliest, which represents the pushback of another month. Emirates expected the aircraft to debut and enter service in and around the 16th of December this year, but now that obviously seems out of reach as delays continue to wreak havoc on the airline and its short-term delivery expectations. Also, the understanding has to be that just because the A350 is delivered to them doesn't mean it can enter service with passengers that very next day. There are tests, familiarization, and more that needs to occur before it will be debuted on the network. And as a result of the subsequent pushback of that entry into service, all other markets that had previously been identified to see the A350-900, say, sooner rather than later, will be pushed back. This includes Colombo, Bahrain, Kuwait City, and others. Staggeringly, the Middle Eastern carrier had actually expected the aircraft to be months into scheduled passenger flying as I'm publishing this video, with early schedules identifying an EIS of in and around September. However, all delivery timeframes that have since been published publicly have not been met, and obviously frustrations are mounting for Emirates, who seemingly can't catch a break with their future aircraft that are all encountering issues. For example, as recently ago as mid-September, Emirates was forecasting an October delivery for the A350, and then a subsequent entry into service. But arguably one of the bigger talking points that was away from just first delivery was how that was going to pave the way for more units to arrive in the final 2 months. Those plans are in tatters as continued supply chain issues, internal difficulties, and more limit Airbus's ability to deliver planes on time. And just a week before Emirates delayed its EIS of the first A350, well, they also faced delays for the upcoming 777X. The A350-900 and 777X are considered to be important pillars of the carrier's long-term network. However, arguably, the latter has encountered more issues. The carrier, say, was initially hopeful of a 2020 first delivery for the 777X. However, after a turbulent last half-decade, well, fresh estimates mean that first delivery won't likely occur until 2026, and then an EIS won't come until 2027, permitting no more delays. They're all really hurting the airline, and they're not alone in feeling that. If you've got any thoughts on today's topics, please let me know down below in the comments. Thanks a bunch for your support. Take care, and I'll see you tomorrow.